Matt, thanks for coming in.
No worries.
2015, cricket, cycling. Which one's more important to you?
It's a tricky question to start off with. It's a little bit like asking which is your favourite kid, basically. It's impossible to sort of answer that. I'm hugely passionate about both. Obviously, the cricket side of things, I've been a professional cricketer for 15 years. It's a massive part of my life. And hopefully, injury aside, it can continue to be that way. One Pro Cycling is obviously a new venture, and I'm putting a huge amount of time and effort into that as well. So trying to marry up both and do both alongside each other is the important thing, and hopefully that's what I can do.
Do you see yourself playing cricket again?
I do. I hope I do. You know, that's ultimately the end goal. That's why I'm waking up at 6 in the morning to get myself to the gym and do all the rehab and the training and get myself fit. Ultimately, the carrot at the end of the tunnel is to play professional cricket again. I've been a professional sportsman for 15 years. I want to carry that on, and that's why I'm sort of, you know, putting a huge amount of time and effort and energy into making sure I can get back to that. So, look, fingers crossed, I can. But the reality is, it's hanging in the balance, and who knows? And the one thing we always talk about as cricketers, you can do as much training and preparation in the gym as you want, but until you've done 6 hours in the field, day after day after day, you don't know how your body's going to react. So I need to firstly get myself to a point where I can play cricket again, and then I need to go and play and see how my body reacts and how my Achilles reacts to that. It's a long way off. It's a very slow process, but as I say, the determination and passion is there certainly to get back.
In terms of when's the cut-off point in terms of, I mean, you say that the passion's still there, but in terms of your physical capability, what's the cut-off point as far as you're concerned?
I don't really know. I've not really put a ceiling on it, to be honest. So the big question everyone's asking, when are you going to be back? How many more months? How many more weeks or whatever it may be? What's the date? When are you going to play again? I don't know. And that's as frustrating for me as it is for anyone else. I can't put a time limit on it. I know that it's a big enough injury that I need to give it the necessary time to heal and get better, because, as I've said already, there's a lot of life to live after cricket, and I don't want to jeopardise what I'm capable of doing after that. You know, I want to ride my bike. I want to play football in the garden with my kids. I want to play golf. You know, these kind of things. So I need to make sure that I get this rehab right. And there are small steps, and at times it's frustrating, but it's necessary for what I need now.
One of the interesting things I found about when you were talking about the managing of your team was the media, or the lack of media training that you want your team to undergo. You want them to be personalities to shine. Talk about how your previous experiences have sort of influenced that decision.
Yeah, I think it's important to have an understanding of media and talking to film and etc., etc. But you can't lose your character. You can't lose. We don't want to create robots. We want people to go out there, and we've got nothing to hide. One Pro Cycling. We're putting ourselves out there. As I've said, we're hugely ambitious. We're trying to do things differently. We've told the world what we're about. There's nothing to hide. So from that point of view, I've personally spoken to the riders and said, yes, you'll have your media training, yeah, but just go and be yourselves. Go and tell people what your experience of being with us is, and hopefully it's a good experience. Now, if it's not, then the onus is on us. The responsibility is on us to create an environment that allows these guys to be the best they can be. And there has to be a certain trust there, but I think it's really important that, look, we have 12 riders, 12 professional signed riders, and these guys are serious athletes. They work tirelessly to be the best that they can be. But you know what? They are serious. They are characters as well, and I think that's important. Humanising professional sportsmen, I think, is really, really important. You know, we have a guy that Marcin Bilbocki, for instance. He rides a bike. He has a hell of a reputation amongst UK cycling. He rides a bike harder than anyone else. But you know, he loves fishing. We're in Mallorca, and he goes for a 6-hour ride training, and he will train harder than anyone else. But at the end of the day, he goes and he sits on the end of a pier and he goes fishing. Oh, I love that, because that's actually real life. That's just a bloke who has another hobby. Yes, he's very good at cycling, but that's what his enjoyment is. We've, you know, a number of different characters, and I think it's important that, yes, these guys train hard. Yes, they spend a lot of time on their bike, looking at a bike computer, etc., etc. But away from that, they are characters, and all sportsmen. It's important that you have. You get that across, and you're able to speak your mind.
How do you compare that policy with wanting there to be transparency? Say everyone wants to be in the dressing room, and social media is helping us get a bit closer. But how do you sort of contrast that policy with your decision to sort of not enjoy sort of a war of autobiographies, so to speak?
I was wondering how long it would take. That's a completely different thing altogether.
So you think that, say, everyone wants to sort of get the inside track on the dressing room. That's something that you could provide as sort of your side of the story, but yet you want your riders to be transparent.
I want my riders to be characters. I want them to be able to speak as people. It doesn't mean you have to make, you know, that I have a choice. That's a personal choice. I know exactly what you're alluding to, and that's a personal choice that I've made.